guys, welcome back to That Stream Maddie. Today, we are going to be reacting to Zach D Films. If you don't know who he is, he's kind of like this guy who knows like a bunch of science stuff, and I don't really know who he is that much, but I just know that he makes some pretty good videos and shorts. But today we are going to be reacting to one of his videos. It's called the Pepsi contest that killed 5 people. I have no idea what that is, so we're going to learn about it today. It is only a 5-minute video, so this video probably will be a bit short. But that is fine for today, because my battery percentage is very short too, so yay. Okay, so yeah, and we're gonna be reacting to that right now.
In 1992, Pepsi ran a contest in the Philippines that ended up killing 5 people.
Okay,
the
that is
contest
crazy.
was called Number Fever, and the idea was simple. Every evening, the news would reveal a winning number.
Okay.
And if you had a Pepsi bottle cap with that number, you won 1,000,000 pesos.
What is that?
1,000,000 pesos in 1992 was life-changing for the average Filipino. So this contest became very popular.
Oh, nice. I don't know what that is, but
Pepsi bottle caps in their homes. Many people would root through dumpsters trying to find winning caps. According to Pepsi, half of the country's population was actively participating in the contest. And it was because of this popularity that Pepsi decided to extend Number Fever for an additional 5 weeks. And this is where things went terribly wrong. You see, throughout the contest, Pepsi was in complete control of how many winners there were. They relied on a computer program to seed 2 winning caps into bottling plants. 2 winning caps meant that there could only be 2 winners, and Pepsi would stay within their budget. But something went wrong after they extended the contest. The computer program glitched, causing some numbers to be mixed up. And on May 25th, 1992, at 6 p.m., the Channel 2 Evening News called the winning number 349. And while there were only supposed to be 2 winners, hundreds of thousands of Filipinos began to celebrate. You see, 349 was already designated as a non-winning number. And because of this, bottling plants were free to print that number as much as they wanted. This resulted in over 600,000 349 caps circulating in the Philippines. 349 was such a common cap that many people had more than one. That night, the streets went wild with celebration. They were all rich and could finally stop worrying about money.
But they probably didn't get the money.
Rushed to the Pepsi factory with their winning caps.
Oh,
they
did?
Had to be shut down and guarded by police. The company quickly realized that they had messed up big time. Pepsi executives had a meeting in the middle of the night to try and come up with a solution. It would have cost them tens of billions of dollars to honor each winning cap. So instead, they put the blame on the computer and offered 500 pesos for each winning cap.
Oh my Lord.
500 pesos was only around $18. This was 0.05% of the original prize. And while some took them up on this offer, most refused and became even more angry. They didn't care about some computer error. Pepsi was a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
What?
In their eyes,
what is that? Was that the old logo for Pepsi?
But Pepsi didn't budge, and violent protests and riots broke out, ultimately leaving 5 people dead and dozens injured. 349 winners stormed the Pepsi factories, throwing Molotov cocktails into the windows and bombing Pepsi trucks that drove by. Over the next year, the angry mob took a more organized approach to fight Pepsi. Coalition 349 was a group of winners that took legal action against the company. They elected a local preacher named Del Fierro as their leader. He rounded up over 800 349 winners in an attempt to sue Pepsi for over $400 million. The chaos continued well into 1993, at which point a new twist in the story started circulating. Old newspaper headlines suggested that Pepsi was somehow responsible for bombing their own trucks.
Wait, what?
These headlines were based on a testimony from a police officer. He alleged that in order to paint Coalition 349 as terrorist and damage their position in court, Pepsi hired mercenaries to infiltrate these groups and cause the riots. More testimonies surfaced of people claiming that Pepsi had paid them to start trouble and cause mayhem.
What?
A Pepsi lawyer quickly denied the allegations, and that was basically the end
I
of
would
it.
too.
In 1993, the court finally put an arrest warrant out
I would
for
deny
9
it.
Pepsi executives. This was a huge win for Coalition 349, but unfortunately, it was one of their only. In the following months, almost all of the civil suits and criminal complaints were tossed out of court, and in 2006, the court officially closed the book on all of the remaining court cases. They found that Pepsi had not been negligent in the number fever disaster. When it was all said and done, Pepsi only had to pay one small fine of 150,000
Oh my
pesos.
lord, that's a lot.
Many Filipinos who experienced number fever are still traumatized to this day. Even mentioning the word Pepsi around certain groups is frowned upon. Pepsi was recently asked for their response to the number fever disaster, and they came out with this statement. These events took place almost 30 years ago, and none of the
30?
executives familiar with this program are at PepsiCo anymore. We deeply regret any pain and suffering our mistake caused the people of the Philippines.
Oh wow.
Giant bucket of water on.
Wait. What? Okay, that is like kind of weird. Like I'm never gonna look at Pepsi or 349 the same way ever again. 349 is now the demon number for me. Well, the second demon number. We know. I can't, like, who are you with here? Are you with the Pepsi or are you with the people? I'd say the people, but like, well, like there's no, they're both kind of right and they're wrong. Kind of. Because like, they had that prize out there and, I mean, it was kind of their job to keep the computer running. And like, they had their promise, I think it was a promise, that like they had to give the winner out and like just do it. But like, just because you didn't get like $18 doesn't mean you like bomb and do that stuff. I mean, yeah, it was a lot back then, but you don't have to do it for all that. And like, it killed 5 people. I am mad. I am mad. But we have time to do maybe another video. Starbucks also has a backstory to it too. Let's get into it.
This is what the Starbucks logo would look like from behind.
Oh.
This is her tail, and it is spread wide open. Now, it's important for you to understand that this design was intentional and kind of creepy, as you'll see throughout this video. In order to understand why Starbucks chose such an odd image to represent the company, we need to go back to the beginning. It was 1971, and the founders, inspired by Moby Dick, chose the name Starbucks. With Seattle being a port city and their coffee coming in on ships, they wanted their brand to be related to the sea. Next on their list was to find a logo. According to the company's website, while they were studying old marine books, a mysterious nautical figure called to them. They had discovered a 16th century depiction of a twin-tailed mermaid, later to be identified as a siren. And almost immediately, they knew they found their logo.
Oh, wait, that is like...
You might assume that they chose the siren because it looked like a mermaid and lived in the sea. But there's actually a deeper and darker reason behind their decision. You see, the siren has its own history that's sort of troubling, and the original founders knew this. In Greek mythology, the siren was first interpreted as a bird with a woman's head. Later, they were pictured as a woman with wings and bird feet.
Wait,
they continued to evolve into a dragon-type beast, until finally being interpreted as the mermaid creature we see today. Regardless of the different variations, the characteristics of the siren remained consistent. They were seductive and violent.
They're
They
like
used their beauty to
vampires.
seduce sailors to come with them in the water. Typically, a siren would sing, and the sailors would be unable to keep themselves from her. They
Yeah.
would literally jump into the water and to their deaths. You might remember sirens from the tale of Odysseus, when he tied himself to a mast to avoid being drawn in by their beauty and singing. But wait,
Oh, wait, that's
what
actually
does
kind of
this
smart.
have to do with
I think.
Starbucks? Didn't
Yeah.
they just choose the siren because it looked like a mermaid? Well, look at the first logo. The siren's chest was bare, and her split tail was seductively spread wide open. This depiction was no accident. The owners expected people to see Starbucks, smell Starbucks, and desire Starbucks. Just like the sailors couldn't deny the seduction of the sirens,
Oh.
the founders of Starbucks wanted to make you unable to resist their coffee. And this isn't speculation. Former chairman and CEO Howard Schultz wrote that early siren, bare-breasted and Rubenesque, was supposed to be as seductive as coffee itself.
Wow.
As the company started to grow,
Wait,
they ran into a
how
problem.
does Starbucks have this, like,
seductive,
huge
bare-breasted
meaning
creature
to it?
was a
That,
little
like, they
too
really
risque
thought about
when it was
this.
scaled up in size. By changing the artwork to make her more appropriate, Starbucks was able to put the image on their trucks without backlash. And over the next 20 years, the logo became even more tame. However, through all these variations, one thing has remained consistent. The siren has always been the focal point. In fact, the company loves this creature so much
Wow.
that in 2008, they went back to the original bare-breasted
What?
logo. This
Really?
was an immediate flop with the public, and it was quickly discontinued. Starbucks doesn't
Yeah.
even mention this in their logo evolution page on their website. But it goes to show how dedicated they are to this creature. And you might think that seduction and irresistibility make for a creepy marketing strategy. But at the end of the day, it is working.
If you're
wow.
a business that handles
How come Starbucks thought so into this? Like, there's some stuff that Starbucks hard to think about. Wow. Well, I'm tired. I just woke up, so. I feel like Starbucks. I actually believe in mermaids. I don't think they're that scary though. I do believe in sirens, that they're like the evil mermaids, and then the mermaids are like yeah. I hope they don't look like Starbucks in the water. But we have time for one more, and this is Toyota's 2,300,000. Wait, $2,300,000,000. I don't know how to read this. I can't really read money that well. Okay, what is this? Tell me what this is. Oh, you can't see it. Right here. I'm just doing this with like my camera here. Popping in real quick. This is Editor Me. I am
Okay,
just
we have
saying
time for one
YouTuber of the
more,
day
so
is Cash. And yes, that is the YouTuber of the day, and also go check out the polls that I made.
His brother-in-law called 911 while in the car.
Wait, why?
And I have to warn you, what you're about to hear is horrific.
911 emergency, what are you reporting? I'm sorry?
What?
We're going 120 Mission Gorge.
Mark was trying to brake, but the car wasn't slowing down.
We're
What?
in trouble. We can't. There's no brakes.
Okay.
Freeway half mile.
The freeway was ending
Wait,
and they were
that is-
approaching an
oh
intersection
my
with
Lord.
stopped vehicles.
We're approaching the intersection.
Okay.
We're approaching the intersection. Hold on. Wait.
Oh no.
Oh, shoot, dude. Oh,
What? Did they survive?
stop.
Okay. Hello?
To avoid hitting other vehicles,
Oh, no.
Mark drove the car off into a ravine. All 4 passengers were instantly killed. The recording of the 911 call went viral, and everyone, especially the relatives of the family, blamed Toyota.
lasted just 17 seconds.
The mounting troubles at Toyota.
Toyota has a problem.
And pretty
Whole
soon, more
family.
and more reports came in.
Thousands of complaints from consumers that report very consistent types of problems across a number of years, makes, and models.
The car just lurched forward and hit the cement wall in front of us.
Over the next 5 years, an estimated 90 people died in Toyota vehicles.
Put simply, Toyota's conduct was shameful. It showed a blatant disregard for systems and laws designed to look after the safety of consumers.
Since everyone blamed Toyota, the company ended up recalling 10 million vehicles in just 2 years. They paid a $1.2 billion fine to the U.S. government and spent another $1.1 billion on a class action lawsuit. But what exactly went wrong in the Mark Saylor incident?
Yeah,
Was
like,
this
how did
really
that happen?
Toyota's fault? Initially, the incident was blamed on floor mats, and for good reason. Soon after the Mark Saylor incident, it was discovered that the same loaner car he was driving had been reported as having a loose floor mat that caused an unintended acceleration. So Toyota conducted a massive recall, and this should have solved the problem for all of these mysterious accelerations. But it didn't. Floor mats turned out to be just a small piece of the puzzle. Malcolm Gladwell, who is a very well-known and well-respected journalist, did an entire podcast episode on this Mark Saylor incident, and he strongly argues a point that is pretty controversial.
But if your car is suddenly and mysteriously accelerating, all you have to do is step on the brakes, because brakes beat engines.
He put this to the test by flooring the gas pedal in a car and slamming on the brakes while it was still floored, and the car stopped. Car and Driver did the same experiment, except with a powerful sports car, and again, the brakes ended up overpowering the engine and stopping the vehicle. So if Gladwell is right, if brakes will always beat an engine, then why couldn't Mark Saylor stop his car that day? I know this is going to sound absurd, but the only logical explanation would be that Mark Saylor never put his foot on the brake. Just go with me on this for a minute. When you drive your personal car, you become used to the pedals in that specific car. Some call this muscle memory. Your mind sort of goes into autopilot. Well, the vast majority of these mysterious acceleration cases happened when a driver was put in an unfamiliar vehicle, like Mark Saylor driving a loaner. People get into an unfamiliar vehicle without adjusting properly, and when they put their foot down to press the brake, they sometimes unintentionally press the gas pedal instead. And there is research to back this up. In 2011, the NHTSA, along with NASA, released a report on all of these mysterious acceleration cases. They analyzed the black boxes in these cars.
Black boxes?
That stores
What do you mean?
information before, during, and after an accident. And what they found in most of these cases is that the brake pedal hadn't even been touched. These drivers were unintentionally pressing the gas pedal the entire time. This is called pedal error, and it's a lot more common than you might think. So now we know what happened to Mark Saylor, right? Case closed. Well, not exactly. A few months after the Saylor incident, new details came to light suggesting that he was in fact pressing the brakes, and that something else was going on. It turns out that Malcolm Gladwell overlooked a very important piece of this puzzle: power-assisted brakes. These brakes are designed to draw power from the engine, but they have a fatal flaw in one certain scenario. Consumer Reports took a Toyota car equipped with power-assisted brakes and performed the same test as Gladwell. They kept the car floored, pressed the brakes, and the car eventually slowed down. But they didn't stop there. They did the same test again and changed one thing.
Let's see what happens if you lift your foot off the brake in this situation. Again, wide open throttle.
I hope he doesn't
60 miles per
die.
hour, hitting the brakes, car slowing down. I'm going to lift off my brakes just once, and then back down. I've lost power assist. I cannot slow this vehicle down. I'm pushing all my might. I'm going 40. Say I lift off my brake again and pump them. Now I'm going 60. Cannot slow down the vehicle. Lift off again. 80 miles an hour. I'm powerless to slow this vehicle down.
Mark Saylor wasn't the victim of pedal error. He was the victim of a loose floor mat, and power-assisted brakes.
In the real world, people will actually lift the foot off the brake, perhaps to pump the brakes to get more power, perhaps they're trying to fiddle with a floor mat. But the point is when you lift your foot off the brake, even one time, you lose your power assistance, and it becomes almost impossible to stop the vehicle.
Oh, wow. That is so sad. That is so sad. No, I don't want that. What is that? Oh, my Lord. That is so sad. A full family died. Am I mad at Toyota? Kind of. Okay. Do I want a Toyota car? Not anymore. I never really wanted a Toyota car in the first place. I'm not even old enough yet. But yeah, why did I just say it like that? I am just in shock, and I can't keep filming because I'm in shock. So yeah, wow. Well, anyway, like, subscribe so you never get in that situation, and remember, keep dreaming. Bye.